This episode of Rakowski is brought to you by The Sims 4. Thank you so much for your recent bugs and failures. My recent success couldn't be possible without your commitment to mediocre gameplay and outsourced quality assurance. Stranded on a foreign world after their spaceship became disabled, Sims led by their captain Anthony Cross utilized homeworld technology and foreign planet crystal tech to survive at the edge of space. As the generations have progressed, these intrepid Sims have built roads, developed architecture, and established a thriving colony. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we are judging and rating all of the builds here in Lunar Lakes. Before we get started, if you enjoy Sims content that praises the accomplishments and details of the older Sims games, then please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. It only takes a second and really helps me make more content on The Sims 3. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Also, if you want to choose which world to review next, then head down to my community tab where you can vote. It's getting down to the wire, so every vote counts. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So as we come in for our landing here at Lunar Lakes, all I can think is I am just so excited. This is right up my alley. I think this is arguably the best world The Sims 3 produced. The concept I am absolutely in love with, like a terraformed moon of a different planet. And although I'm looking at the thumbnails of all the builds, they are very funky and weird shapes going on, but it is very much my style. They're very whimsical, very futuristic, but of course this is EA, so we don't know how the insides are gonna look. But I guess that's why we're here. So if you've been keeping up with the series, most of the worlds have been very green, a twist on suburban styles or whatever, so I always look for realism and stuff. Not with this world. I'm going to be looking for interesting ideas, build mechanics, and just like how do they utilize the tools given, because usually EA doesn't do a good job with that stuff, and I've seen some very interesting things other simmers have come up with. Oh my god, the landscaping. I'm just looking at the trees, the water, the rivers. I love the shapes. I love everything about it. This is like very geometric, very mathematical, very exciting. Oh yeah, and sorry it took me so long to get to this one. It's just because like interstellar space travel takes a while. I haven't even had time to take off my space jacket yet. Actually, until we're under the domes, I don't know if it's a good idea. So let's jump into our first house and get started. First up is Aquarium. Now my first thought is kind of, wow, I'm very impressed. Usually the first build doesn't really do it for me, but so far so good. I really like the shape of this one. I like the solar panels on the roof. I like the little details, like it's called Aquarium, and they have this half wall that kind of reminds me of like water waves. I also see a pool inside. I see lots of little details that I really like. This side's a little bit blank and flat, but that's fine because the rest of it is so whimsical. Wow, the pool goes all the way to the back here. Tragically, I can see some interesting color choices inside, but I'm hoping for more of like an alien green concept on the insides and not an EA green, if that makes sense. You know, like baby poo. And one thing I'd like to mention is that these are some of my favorite windows in the entire series, and they're so hard to use in a good build, and I think they're kind of designed for Lunar Lakes, like octagonal, tall, modern-y windows. And even for the square ones, they kind of use like this like very light blue just to give it that extra touch. Okay, everything looks good so far, so let's jump inside and see. Okay, popping inside, I don't really hate this color palette. Again, I noticed this pool, or it might be a fountain, but I think it's a pool. It goes all the way through the house, which kind of suits the Aquarium vibe. I don't love this shade of blue, but I like how they kind of kept it all cohesive and together on this side. What I really do like is this shade of blue. This is like a beautiful teal. I don't like the baby poo stripes on it really, but they almost got it. I'm hoping for more of greens like this though. This kind of like alien plutonium green kind of thing, so I guess we'll see. Going into the living room, it's very orange. I like the orange. It's very much my style of color, but again, they like put little bits of green up here, not my favorite. I don't like the blue they chose for the posts here, but it's still very like futuristic and whatnot. I was scared it was going to look like Sunset Valley. The kitchen is very atypical, but again, we are in space, so I guess we'll give it a little bit of a pass. I don't know how I feel about the texture on this bar. That's kind of the worst part, but the burnt red and everything here is very nice. The bathroom is not a baby poo green. Maybe, oh, just a little bit at the top, almost. I don't know. Let's go upstairs. This bedroom you could probably see from space, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really like the wall color, but I don't like the 70s palette they just kind of striped over on the beds, the lamp, the rug, and the wall. Oh no, of course we get a green bathroom right off the bat. Look at this. This is a typical EA bathroom with a little bit of a space twist, so I don't really know how I feel about it. I wouldn't have made the tub green. I think if they made the tub white, it would be just enough. The kids' bedroom is probably my favorite thing, except for the floor. This floor is very Sunset Valley, not something I was expecting in Lunar Lakes, but I really do like the bedspread bedspread. I like the stars on the nightstand. It's like a nice little touch, nice little detail. And we get reminders of the orange and blue that we saw downstairs kind of like sprinkled throughout. So I think that's very nice as well. So for my expectations for this world, I was expecting futuristic, funky space age shells with Sunset Valley interiors. And this wasn't quite as bad as what I was expecting, but there are still a few EA style problems. And of course, that's something that we should expect. But overall, I think they did a good job. These are hard concepts to pull off. And like, at least from the outside, it looks really pretty. I don't know. I don't like the green inside. I'm going to give this one a 7. I think 7's a good place to start because if the rest of the houses are better or at the same level as this, then we're going to have a good time. But I'm sure there's a few blunders hiding around the corners, so I can't wait to keep going. Next up is Aurora's Atrium. It's kind of hard to tell from the thumbnail shot, but this is a very interesting and intricate shape. I love it. I love the windowing. I love the center courtyard. I love the octagonal, like on each corner. It's kind of like a Victorian build got chopped up and like made into the future. I don't know. I really like it. Again, they have solar panels on the roof, which makes sense. Love the wall details. The back's a little blank and windowless, but again, like they're facing that away from the street. If you're on the street, you're seeing the good part. And sometimes EA does the opposite. They put the pretty stuff at the back. But so far, so good. It's really feeling the vibe. It's got that futuristic, whimsical sense that I'm looking for. So let's jump inside. The first thing I notice is this like intricate detailing with the tiles. I don't think this is particularly pretty, but I was just watching a video about this, and sometimes I forget to do this, and you can do a lot with like quarter tiles and different textures of floors. So I'm gonna leave a link to that down below if you want to like check out different ways to make your floors look interesting, because this is not the best example, but at least they tried. But going into the bathroom, they did it much better. I like the squares. It's working really well for the bathroom. The bathroom has no green in it. I don't know how I feel about the yellow strip, but it's a nice little touch, I guess. I'm not in love with the fact that these are like off center. I would have just moved the mirror over a little bit to balance it out, but that's okay. Going into the kitchen, we have a gold kitchen. I don't hate gold. I like ghetto gold for fun, I guess. I wouldn't want it for like my engagement ring or anything, but maybe for a Sims kitchen, it's fine. Speaking of gold, we have a gold computer for some reason. I love it. It's like an old school computer, but it's like a different color. It looks like one of those computers that got like left out and like stained over time. The couch color is actually exquisite. It's the right balance between orange and yellow. It really works out. And looking at the layout as a whole, it's very big, but it's also very functional. Like, I don't think anyone's going to get jammed up. There's lots of doors, lots of hallway space to get around. And if you go upstairs, it's not as big. So only the downstairs is really big. And then the upstairs is just like a bedroom and another bathroom. So going up here, this is probably my like most disappointing room. This is off center. I don't like the colors up here. Maybe the bedspread's all right. But again, it's like an old school kind of bed. Like there are more modern beds they could have chosen. Going into the bathroom, it just kind of looks like a regular EA bathroom. I like the downstairs bathroom a little bit better, but again, nothing too offensive. Like the floor plan works really well. I think it's going to be a really functional house, and it does kind of suit the whole space vibe, if you know what I mean. But yeah, coming back outside, like I really like the windowing. I really like the style. I really like the shape. There's a few like nitpicky things that I would change around, but again, like when they make things like this, sometimes they're completely broken, or if they forget roofs, or there's like a bathroom with no doors, or you have to go through a bathroom to get to a bedroom. And I didn't see anything like that. So overall, well done. I'm gonna give this one an 8. We're starting off pretty strong. Again, like bias consideration, like this is definitely much more my style. I love Strangertown. I even love Strangerville in The Sims 4. So having something a little bit more alien-esque or like, you know, out of this world is pretty much right up my alley. So let's keep going. Next up is Chlorophyllum. And I know it looks really stupid from this angle, but as you move to the roof, if you look at this, they actually designed it like a bunch of leaves. Look at the lattice roof fencing for this detail. I would never have thought of that. I think that's really well done. The shade of green isn't really offensive. I was scared it was going to be like a space green. I think this works a lot better. Well done. EA chose a good green. Oh no, there's cow print over here. Are there even cows on Lunar Lakes? And we have cow print lounge chairs. My goodness. But if we ignore that, again, I really love the shape. I love the concept. It doesn't look too big either, but diagonal walls can sometimes grow your house accidentally. And I like the fact that it's called Chlorophyllum, which is like, you know, like a twist on chlorophyll, like for plants. And then it looks like plants, like it makes sense together. Sometimes EA comes up with a name and the name is really good, but the house has nothing to do with it. Well done. Okay, let's go inside. Okay, it's not super Sunset Valley. I don't think it's really a bad thing at all. I don't like how the living room is immediately as you walk in, and it's not really facing anything like a TV. I do see a laptop on the table though, but like there's no chair at the desk. I guess you can move the laptop over the dining room. I don't know if we have a dining room. I guess we'll see. The red kitchen, I don't hate it. And like the fridge and the stove are next to each other, but there's space, I guess. I've seen this twice already in Lunar Lakes. Maybe this is going to be a bit of like the kitchen style. I think they could have chose a different counter though. Like I like the colors. I just don't, I think it looks a little bit too classic, a little bit too like suburban contemporary. My least favorite decision that they've made is these patterns on the chairs. These are not really my style. I don't like any of these colors, and I don't like the pattern either. I think they could have done something a little bit more space age. Going upstairs, we have an orange bedroom. I don't know. This actually has a few things that I would normally not like. First of all, I love the wallpaper, but like the zebra print rug, I don't know. But I'm glad they didn't use like an orange leopard print. That's something that EA would normally do. Yeah, not too bad. They seem to love orange in Lunar Lakes. That's not a color that we see too much. But going inside, we have a EA space green bathroom. This is like a Sunset Valley bathroom brought into the 21st century, which is not necessarily a good thing. I don't like the sink choice either. I think there's more modern sinks they could have used as well. But the hexagon windows, the outside, I forgot it's all leaves. This is really well done. See, this third floor is not, it's kind of just for pretend, but it's just a platform. And if you want to know how to put like platforms and stuff on top of houses, then I recommend literally any of my build videos. Okay, coming back outside, like really well done for the concept. It's a little bit of a small house. I don't love all of the inside choices, but again, for making the name Chlorophyllum and actually making it look like plants in a way with lattice roof fencing that I've not seen from a simmer in years. Really well done. They put some thought into this one, but it isn't without its problems, of course, because it's an EA house. So I don't know. I'm gonna give this one an 8.5. I feel like each house is getting slightly better and better, and like in different ways. So I do have hope that we're gonna see a couple 10s, but I'm also worried that we're gonna get some blunders, because if they spent a long time on some of these houses, some of the other ones might have been neglected. Next up is Crow's Nest. This is an interesting concept too. Before I get to the shell, I just want to point out the fact that this house is up super high and you can kind of look over other parts of the world. So I guess that's why they called it Crow's Nest. Now, although the shape is a little bit phallic for my taste, if you don't look at it from the top, it's not too bad. I really like the hexagon details. They're really including those. I love the half wall with the glass, love the windows. I love my octagonal tall windows. On the lounge chair, these two colors really go together. I wish they used those colors a little bit more. Maybe not for the outside though. I kind of like the beige aesthetic going on. And I like how the second floor is a little bit off of the first floor. It just breaks it up a little bit, adds a little bit more of a dynamic feel. But yeah, from the top, my goodness, I'll just leave that to your imagination. Let's jump inside. So as we come in, it's like a nice long hallway, which I guess is fine because like when you're doing a shape like this, you can't utilize all of the space because it's gonna get a little bit too cramped. I'm glad the kitchen's not along this wall, but it is along this wall and it is green, but they did choose a much better green. They're using carpet for the wall, which is like a texture that I'm not really a fan of. And for a diagonal kitchen, they did a really good job. I've seen simmers try to do these like a few times and they usually end up like kind of weird and ugly and clipping and everything. This looks pretty functional and doesn't look too out of place. The living room has like futuristic chairs and an old school TV, but that might make sense. Maybe they like developed the furniture on Lunar Lakes and they brought some of the tech from like the old world. There's a cute little half bathroom squished in the back here. Okay, again, like they're using like this blue and like orangey yellow together. Very nice, but they're using like very little bits of it. If they're using such good colors, why is there so little of it? They even use it here on the desk. Okay, so going over here. Oh, and the bed sheets. I'm noticing this. What is with the 3 green mirrors? EA, I felt it in my bones. I was like, oh, like why would you punch me like that and ruin everything? But of course, like what else can we expect? The bathroom has the same ugly green mirror, but it does match the lights. These lights are downstairs too. It's a little bit of a weird thing, but again, I'm glad that they didn't utilize like the whole floor plan, if that makes sense. This part's kind of cut off here. They have a little balcony, again, with the same chair up here, but I am noticing a lack of things to do. This is a criminal sim, so like she should have like a few more riches or things kind of like, you know, kind of sprinkled about. I wish she had more skill building items or something, like just like something a little bit extra. It's missing something and I'm not really sure what it is. Coming back outside, it kind of looks like a boat, like from this angle, and it definitely looks like a much better boat than in the ocean worlds that we've seen so far. But for something called Crow's Nest, I'm pretty impressed. Like very cohesive, nice and small and compact, nothing too complicated, maybe missing a thing or two, but I really like the concept of this one again. But I'm still looking for that extra something, you know? I don't know. I'm gonna give this one an 8. Another high score. Like I haven't dipped below 7 yet, and like that might just be because this is kind of my style, but it could also be because they put a little more effort into these. Like I feel like these houses took a lot longer than a lot of the other ones that we've seen in previous worlds. So let's lean over the cliff and see what's next. Next up is cubes for living. So my first thought is this is probably like the best cube house that The Sims has ever done, to be honest. I really like how there's like cube elements like in the water here, in the fountains, in the wraparound, even in the solar panels. And if you look at the shell, they did it really dynamic. Like they didn't do 2 cubes, right? Like they did like a bunch of cubes, broke it up, made little cube balconies and everything. I think it's really well done. It almost looks like it would actually stand on its own too. Usually when they do stuff like this, it doesn't really make sense. Going in the back, look how small this cube pool is, but I guess there's like water all around it too. And it also kind of matches like the shape of the Lunar Lakes rivers, you know, like man-made rectangular lakes or whatever. I don't know, I really like it. And I also like the window choices. Okay, let's jump inside. I do see some colors I like already, so I'm excited. This is what I was talking about. I saw this floor and I was like, I love this shade of blue. I think it goes really well with black. I love everything about this living room except the fact that it's 4 separate coffee tables. I hate when EA does this. Going over here, I really like that yellow too. Like that yellow and that blue go really well together. And going into the kitchen, they tried to use the same blue, but unfortunately they didn't really pull it off. But they do have like the golden yellow here. They tried to pair it together. I don't know. This kind of reminds me of like the primary colors like red, yellow, and blue, but this space age version of them. So I don't know if it's a bad thing. It might just be a bad thing for a kitchen. The dining room is fine too, except why are there 6 lamps on it? I don't even know if this is going to be functional to eat, maybe. And one of the big problems that we're facing with this kind of shape is the floor plan. If you look here, like you have to come down the stairs and go through all these corridors just to get to like any of the rooms that are functional. Oh, and look at EA tried to hide a little green bathroom behind the stairs, but I see it. I'm on to you. Going upstairs, we have, ooh, I don't really like this color combination. This is not for Lunar Lakes. Like they do it so closely. Like they have this like modern bed, like the blue is kind of weird. The lamps are kind of crooked, but then you have this like Victorian pattern bed sheet and like this old school comforter. I don't know. With Create Style, you have limitless textures. So like, I expect something a little bit better. This girl's bedroom, I assume it's for a girl, is very nice. I like this gradient of the purples. I like the mauve that they've chosen for all of the furniture. I don't know if the purple goes with the furniture necessarily, but you know, at least they gave it a shot. Here's an EA bathroom with 3 baby poo mirrors next to each other as usual. This is literally what Miss Ditch did to bother me on purpose. This is an all right kid's bedroom. I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't like race cars on the walls. I don't like fast lane stuff either, just so you know. But the bedroom itself is laid out really nicely. This is like a Simsy bedroom. It's got a couple skill building objects. It's not too big. Everything is functional, but it's not like too big and empty either. Yeah, I don't know. Coming back outside, again, I really love the shape. I love the concept of the cubism. I think the windowing is perfect. This is something I haven't really mentioned too much yet this episode, but it's because like we're so used to seeing EA's like crazy weird windowing that these ones are done really well. So like I haven't even brought it up, but I have to give some credit. But again, we have a few Sunset Valley interior problems like I was expecting, but this one I think pulled off more rooms than it missed. So I don't know. I'm gonna give this one a 9. Ooh, we're creeping up. We're getting better and better. I love these concepts. I love some of the choices, and I'm loving more and more of the choices. So let's keep going and see what we get next. Next up is Depot Home. Again, a very whimsical shell. This is in a very different style. It's called Depot Home, so I expect that this like used to be some sort of like supply depot for the crystals or whatever, and now it's been converted into like a residence. Very interesting shape. It's like a backwards N. This is something that I would not even attempt. Like I'd be too scared of this many diagonal walls. I'd be too scared of this corner here. I don't know how I feel about windowing it that way, but overall, again, like the windowing is very nice, particularly because they choose the right windows. I'm so happy they didn't choose like all those like suburban style windows. This Sims 3 has a lot of those. I really like these like industrial columns. They have like little tubes and pipes and a little like detail there. I love this yellow and blue together. Those are kind of nice colors. So hopefully we see more of that. I see some more yellow and blue inside, but I'm not quite sure yet. So let's jump inside and see what they've done. Okay, they went with the color palette throughout the whole house. Look at this cohesion. I have not seen anything like this in a long time. Now, that being said, if we go through, it doesn't really look like a house, or at least half of it, right? So it's kind of like a depot. So let's go in the front door. So coming in, they use this wallpaper exquisitely. I like how there's metallic texture in between like the lines here. Very, very nice. The windows match the lights and the mirrors and everything. The colors all go together. Oh, it's like a recycling depot or something, because I notice here we have like dumpsters inside. Again, like very whimsical concept. This is not for everybody, but I really like this. I'd also like to mention that this kitchen actually has like different appliances. There's 2 microwaves, there's a coffee machine, and usually EA kind of like forgets that stuff. I do too, quite frankly. I also think the blue is a stronger color than the yellow, even though I like the yellow better, and they use more of the blue. So I think it works really well all together, and they both go really well with blacks and grays. In here, we can see an assortment of furniture and stuff. There's rocks here. So it is kind of like half depot, half residence. I don't hate it. This is the first pickup truck in The Sims 3 that I have not absolutely hated. Well done. I don't like it on the lowrider though. Okay, let's go upstairs. Oh, the upstairs is just to the balcony. That makes sense. I wasn't quite sure, because sometimes with these houses, they have like lots of platforms platforms and stuff everywhere that it tricks you into thinking that there's second floors or third floors or anything. But come to think of it, like the house itself is pretty big. Like you're able to fit your entire house in one of these sides here, so you can use the rest for a little bit of decoration, a little bit of storytelling. I'm not sure what this guy's story is. Like he wants to be like a Renaissance sim, so it's not like he stole all this stuff. Maybe he just kind of came into it or whatever. Okay, I don't know. Coming back outside, I don't know, like the inside I think was one of the strongest concepts, but the outside is a little bit disappointing compared to what I've seen. I like the idea, I like the story, but I don't love things in my Sims houses that are not really like for them or like for their house, but it does create a good narrative. I don't like the stone on the outside either. I would have like brightened it up a little bit. I don't really like this color. I'm so conflicted. I just keep like bouncing back and forth. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna give it a 7. This house just has the opposite problem, right? Like the outside is a little bit underwhelming and probably not as structured as I would like, but the inside is a really good color palette for once. But I'm really hoping to see more colors like these crystals. That's a little bit more my style of blue. So let's see if we can get it. Next up is exoskeleton. And I know for a lot of you, English is not your first language. So I just want to mention that exoskeleton is a specific term that is for like an insect's outer body. Because like, if you think about it, like a bug has like its skeleton on the outside, exoskeleton. So that's what the name refers to. And looking at it, it doesn't really look like a bug, which I'm kind of glad. I didn't really want like a bug shaped house or anything. This one also has a garden, but again, with a Lunar Lakes twist. And again, they make all these details with the platforms on top, diagonal everywhere. This is really hard to do. Like if you had to actually like recreate this would take you some time. But the shape itself is just like the letter L, like so many EA builds are. So let's jump inside and see what we get. Okay, so nothing really like blows me away, but nothing disgusts me either. Let's look in the living room. I like how all the furniture is kind of like facing a TV for once. I don't know how I feel about the 4 bookshelves. I know they just had to fill up the space with something. I would also consider kind of boxing these off. Like if you're not going to utilize these little cubby spaces, just make them pillars. The dining room is nice. Love this painting in this room. This is a hard painting to pull off in a build. I like how there's extra dining chairs off to the side. I've mentioned this before. And this half wall in the kitchen, that's kind of nice too, because you can have people sitting here and like chatting kind of as you're cooking, but there's still something dividing the two of you. Going into this bathroom, there's no real like green surprises. However, like the 6 candles on the wall, not sure how I feel about that. They could have done a little bit less, but it is The Sims 3 and you kind of need extra light sometimes. And I've noticed they keep choosing like old-fashioned style mirrors and just coloring the metal and stuff. So I'm not sure how I feel about that either. Like they could have used something a little bit more plain, I think. The bedroom is actually very pretty. I love this blue kind of next to the bed. The bed is very grayscale. It's kind of nice. The bed is way over here on the other side of the house, but the house is not super big. Again, I'm not sure why there's so much seating. This is really for like a single sim. I would have toned it down a little bit, but you know EA, whenever they don't know what to do, they just stick a couch, or in this case, several. But yeah, coming back outside, it's a nice like simple 1-bedroom house with a nice funky outside exoskeleton. I don't think it's as strong as some of the other builds, but it definitely has the least amount of problems. It doesn't have any floor plan problems, doesn't really have any like ugly color problems, just a few nitpicky choices that are not really for me. But I like the outside, I like the concept. It could have been windowed a little bit better if I have to give a little bit of criticism. Where are my hexagon windows? But yeah, once again, I think we really fell at the baseline, so I'm gonna give this one a 7. There's always a score that I feel like safe in each world, and I think for Lunar Lakes it's 7. Like, you know, really well done. Some worlds it can be like 3 is my comfort zone, but for this it's, you know, everything is on the same level of quality. Nothing has been a complete blunder so far, so let's hope this trend continues. Next up is Faux Hole. I'm not sure if it's an American thinking it's pronounced fox, so it's like foxhole, but that's besides the point. Looking at the colors of the outside, my favorite palette so far. I love the whiter stone. I love the blue detail. I love the stripe. I love the gardening. There's more gardens than even in the last house. Again, we got lots of octagonal shapes. We got lots of hanging over second stories, third stories. I like how dynamic this is, but I think the strongest side is the back, which is unfortunate. I would have made this side the front because the windowing is nice. It's very cohesive. We have the blue in the glass. We have the blue in the stripe, and even some of the blue on the inside I can see. But yeah, see, like the front is a little bit more flat and boxy. I just would have flipped it around. But the fun thing about this house, if we jump inside, is Faux Hole. So it's like a secret passage. So there's no front door to this building. I was thinking about that a minute ago, and I thought, how the heck are you supposed to get in here? But of course, if you go in here, it's just like a simple door, little room, and then as you go downstairs, it's like a little bunker space. Down here, we actually have a really nice living room. I love these colors together. I don't like this orange by itself, but I think it goes really well with the blue. Unfortunately, it has some of the Sunset Valley furniture that I'm not a fan of. I don't usually like this lamp. I absolutely hate this bookcase. And I just want to mention it it verbally because it's been a few episodes. People say, why do you hate this bookcase? And I'm like, because who has ugly golden giraffe statues all over their bookcase? It just makes a lot less sense when there's like 12 of them in a house, you know? But yeah, going down this long corridor, we have this funky blue kitchen. I love the blue for the kitchen. It's a big functional kitchen as well, but once again, no other appliances. And these different colored chairs, it's a nice little touch. It adds like a much needed splash of color because I do like when things are very cohesive, but I also like little splashes of surprise. Now going into the actual house, we have the same double EA coffee table problem, which I guess isn't too bad. This is like a metallic fabric, and normally I complain about stuff like this, but in Lunar Lakes, I could see it working. Going in here, we have a half bathroom, which is not too bad either. Like they don't have too many lights. They have a nice blue tile. It goes really well. I love when the outside and the inside match. This is an EA dining room. Even though they use the blue and everything, there is no other decorations, no plants, no end tables, nothing. Going to the second story, ooh, this wallpaper, my first little bit of disappointment, but that's okay. It's not horrifically ugly. It's just because the rest of the colors are so nice. I don't really know how to feel about it. Now I see like some of the colors on the bedroom, they do work really well together, even if they're not my favorite colors. That's fine when EA does that. Like they use colors that I don't love, but when they use them together in a way that doesn't clash, I'm very impressed. Because like I would never use shades of blue and purple like this, like an indigo, because I don't really know how to harmonize that too well. But they did an all right job. Okay, let's go to the third floor. Really? EA, you're really driving me crazy. Did you really need a green bathtub, green toilet seat, and green sink hiding in this house? Why would you do this? This is the problem. Like the blues are fantastic, but blue and green do not go together. Like look at this. It's not for me. And then the bedroom gets even more green, but this is more of like the alien green that I was hoping for. I'm glad the tub is not alien green. I'd rather the tub be white, but this is a little bit of like an upscale, modernistic Strange Town vibe, you know? Okay, coming back outside, despite the green surprises at the end, I think this is perhaps the best house we've seen. I love the concept. I love the shell. I love the underground thing into the main part of the house. Even if it's not that functional, it can be very realistic, right? Like who knows what you'd have to do to a space house? And they did lots of harmonizing throughout. The shell is really good. The windowing is good on the other side. I don't know. I like this one. I'm gonna give it a 9. Another high score. My goodness, I'm getting really excited because I see a few shells in the background of some of the houses that we haven't seen yet, and even they look a little bit stronger, so I think a 10 might be in our future. Next up is Field House. My first thought is that it's a little bit of a small house, like especially for Lunar Lakes, we've seen lots of like more extravagant things before, but I do still like the shape. Again, I love the solar panels on the roof. I think it's a nice little like basic modern shape, but there's like little details. Like I love these bay windows, very modern, very nice, just sticking out one tile. I do this a lot in like my Sims 2 builds. I like the octagonal shape in the middle, but it's not overbearing. And like on the outside, there's not a whole lot of detail, but they keep it very cohesive and muted. Like it doesn't have to be screaming, you know? It's not like me, right? Okay, so let's just jump inside. I think the inside is really what's gonna tell this thing apart. And actually coming inside, it's like a pleasantly basic surprise. Where's the front door? Oh, there's 2 front doors. They're both on this side. So you can come in through the living area or you can come in through the bedroom. I don't know how I feel about the door to the bedroom, but let's start at the beginning. The kitchen is all right. I like the metallic floor, very simple. Going into this, I don't know how I feel about wicker everywhere. There wouldn't be wicker in Lunar Lakes, right? Wicker's made of wood. The whole point is that we're in space. So I don't know how I feel about that. But until you get to the living room, it's really nice. I like the little dining area. I like the one plant on the table. That's all I needed to make this thing a little bit special. But yeah, the wooden wicker, not really for me. They clumped some plants in the corner, but again, like when they decorate, they always use the same 2 or 3 plants, even though we're on the other side of the galaxy. But the one thing this house has that the other houses don't really is like lots of skill building items, even though it's such a small house. Like there's an easel here, chess table, telescope, computer, and a wicker walled bathroom. Oh, why would you do this to me? I don't like this at all. I wouldn't like this in any world, quite frankly. Can you imagine like showering? Because like I take hot showers and then like the wicker's gonna get all wet and like moldy. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. And coming into the bedroom, why is there wicker on the wall? Okay, so they really went with a style here. Like they decided to use wicker. I don't agree with it. But the house itself is pretty good. Very functional. It's a small space, but not too cramped. Well, the living room's a little bit cramped, but it's for 2 people. And as long as they can sleep in the same bed, it should be no problem. But yeah, coming back outside, just like with most small houses, I have to take other things into consideration. I like the skill building items, but I don't like the creative style choices. The shape is all right, but it's a little bit too small and simple. This is probably the weakest house that we've seen so far. It has some potential and actually would be a really good renovation challenge because I know a lot of you like to just pop into a house and renovate it. So this is probably a good choice. But tragically, it doesn't hold up to the other builds that we've seen here. I'm gonna give this one a 5. Oh no, we gave a 5, a lower score, but that's okay. Lunar Lakes is actually a really big world, so this is gonna be like one of those older episodes that I used to do with like 12 or 13 houses. So EA still has a chance to redeem themselves. Let's see. Next up is Layer Cake. Now I get they're trying to make it look like a wedding cake, but based on the color and shape of this thing, again, it's quite phallic. I would just call it syphilis. Okay, so this is definitely a layered cake house. It is in an EA green, and if you zoom out, they tried to hide it. It looks like they're like, oh no, Rikowski's gonna see it. Our big ugly greenhouse, let's cover it in trees. But of course, I found it and I'm gonna see every little detail. Now, the most conflicting thing about this house is I absolutely hate it, but I love little parts of it. I hate the shape, I hate the green, I hate this giant green staircase, but I love this tile. Like, look at these colors. Like, I love these. Like the pinks and the golden yellow are perfect. They just don't go with this green. Actually, they do kind of go with this green. I just don't think the green should be with anything. They also tried to use round roofs. I've never tried to use round roofs. I think it's too difficult, but I mean, this isn't as bad as I expected, I guess. I kind of like the bay at the top here. Like, you just have like all the windows all the way around, but the rest of the house doesn't really have windows except for these ones here. I know I just spent a minute and a half talking nonstop, but this house pretty much does speak for itself. So let's jump inside. I'm actually gonna start in the basement so I don't forget it. The basement is beautiful. I love this pink and purple, love the starry wallpaper, and I like how the purple is from the lights. So as there's no purple light over here, you can see the stars are just like white on like a nice black background or whatever. And it's kind of like a computer room, like sciencey room. This is like a science loving family, so they're always doing their research. Love this bookshelf. See, you don't have to use an ugly bookshelf. This is a much better bookshelf for Lunar Lakes. Not this one though. Okay, let's go upstairs. Oh no, this is like where Sunset Valley came to die, unfortunately. This green, they love to use this green. It's no surprise to me that they put it in the bathroom and the kitchen, but the whole walls, I don't know how I feel about that. They did a nice concept with the basement, but this is just too much for me. And the problem with this green wall is that since there aren't that many windows, there's nothing to break it up. So you just have like 20 tiles of green at any given point. Okay, going to the second floor, I just felt nauseated quickly, probably because I just drank a bunch of coffee too, but looking at all these colors, oh, this is like Sunset Valley circles. Like, I don't know why they chose this, because with Create a Style, you can pick each thing individually and make it nice. They didn't do that. The Sims 2 cheating tree has been all over this house so far as well. Going in here, a green dominated bathroom. Actually, it's a white dominated bathroom with just blue and green tiles to bother me, unfortunately. So I don't know how I feel about that. And I know I always complain about having more than one bathroom mirror. I'd be fine with 2. What I'm not fine is with the little one in the middle. Like, why would you do that? There's also no shower in this house. Going into the kids' room, there's some things with color theory that are kind of like rules, but they don't always work because it really depends on hues and tones and shades and whatever. And one of the things is that secondary colors go together. So like orange, green, and purple, not these colors. It's almost there. They almost did it. I'm not sure what thing that they should change specifically to make it work, but it's not quite for me. And tragically, going up to the top floor, we have the same bathroom problem. Again, no shower. This bedroom, I don't know. At least they put a plant on the dresser. But this house doesn't really know what it is, right? That's kind of like the problem with this concept, I think. I think with a lot of the other concepts, see, I can't even see the house. There's so many trees. But I think the problem with this house is that layer cake isn't really a concept, right? Like, it doesn't really make any sense. So they just kind of like repeated the ugly colors that they're used to sprinkling all around. There's no windows. It's a weird shape. I don't like it. You know what? Like, we're in Lunar Lakes. I'm holding things to a higher standard here. If you threw this in a boring world, I might be kind of at least interested. This is just not great. Honestly, I just have to go with my gut at this point. So I'm gonna give it a 3. Oh no, Lunar Lakes is tanking. I had such faith at the beginning. This might just be like a little bit of a hiccup, like kind of like the few ugly ones in the middle, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next up is Leeuwenhoek's Lair. I have no idea if I said that correctly. See, the thing is with EA's building names, I know this is a proper name, but usually once per episode, there's a word that I'm not familiar with and I don't know how to say. I consider myself relatively intelligent with a good vocabulary, but EA beats me on that one. But yeah, looking around, I really like the shape. I like the windowing. It's very funky and different. I don't know how functional this diagonal part's gonna be, but sometimes I can forgive a little bit of afunctionality for a bit of style, and this thing really works. Perhaps there's a few too many windows, but of course, an EA build, what can you expect? This one does have a boring garden though. I liked those like little like, you know, hexagon gardens that were kind of sprinkled throughout the last couple houses. Those were really nice. But I do like the details with these platform things kind of like reaching over top. It's very nice and it's not overbearing, and you can kind of see it from from like the map view as well. And it just kind of like makes you think like, ooh, that looks interesting. What's that? We have an actually normal wooden deck for once. I guess that's fine. I don't like the red kind of like fabric upholstery here on the bar, but you know, other than that, it's fine. Not much else to say. Let's jump inside. Okay, this is a sight to be seen. This living room, I would normally hate this living room, but I guess for Lunar Lakes, a little bit more whimsical is fine. I don't like several coffee tables in a living room though. I just don't think it looks nice, and I don't think it's realistic either. I don't hate the color palette, but I'd rather have the color palette of this CD player. I kind of miss the orange and blue, but I did notice this wall is wicker as well. Why is this a repeating trend? They should never have done that. Here we have a Sims 4 green style kitchen, which I'm not really sure about. I like the windowing of it actually. This looks really nice. And I also like the tile. It goes really well with the dining table. Why didn't they make the counters the same as the dining set? That would have looked a lot better, especially with red. Over here we have an orange and blue bathroom, and once in a while EA does a colorful bathroom, which I don't hate. And this is one of them. I don't even hate like the copper orange toilet or the sink or the tub. It goes really well with the blue. I even like the white and gold checkered floor. It's very nice. However, this bathroom is hideous. This looks like a Sunset Valley bathroom that somebody just took a dump all over, put it all over the walls, all in the sink, all over the toilet, but then it's not going to show the mess. That's gross too. I don't want to think about it. Okay, let's go into this orange and blue bedroom. My goodness. This is a little too Sunset Valley if I'm honest. And this is also like one of those color theory things. If you pull out the color wheel, then like orange and blue are on the opposite sides. So like they should complement each other and they should go together, but not this blue and not with this orange. The bedroom for some reason is its own hodgepodge. Again, we have wicker walls, metal floor. I like the metal floor, but not with the rest of the stuff. Metal bed frame. What is with this patterned like floral weird wallpaper end tables? I don't like that at all. This dresser, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I actually like the privacy partition. I think that's very modern and would have looked just fine without anything else. And finally, we have a little cramped bathroom here. It's not as nauseating as the other bathrooms. Why are there 3 bathrooms in this house? This house is too small for 3 bathrooms in my opinion. But yeah, coming back outside, very similar concept. I don't think they pulled it off as well. This is a bit of a simpler house, so I was expecting a little bit more care and detail with like the colors and the floor plan and stuff. I didn't really like a lot of the choices that they made inside. I really liked that one bathroom. If they had extended that color palette kind of throughout, I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. But unfortunately, they didn't. They chose to use ugly Sims 4 greens throughout, so I have to cap this one at a 6. A 6, my goodness. I still have hope though, because there's still a couple more houses, and like I said, this is a big world, so if we don't get our perfect score, I do think we'll get it next episode. But we still have a chance, so let's see. Next up is Organica. First off, I really love that name, Organica. Ooh, it sounds like so fancy and plant-like, and I see a garden right away and back with that fencing that I really like. Actually, the whole house is kind of in this shape. If you look at it from above, it's kind of like, you know, hexagon, 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 which is not really a bad thing. This is a much less phallic house, especially for this kind of shape. I kind of really like the red too. Like the red goes really well with the pale beige on the outside. The windows are a little bit different. They're a little bit more boxy, but I think this kind of build calls for it. I wouldn't want the hexagon windows all over this house. It would have just been too much because it's such a distinctive shape and it's not that big too. So like when you start adding a bunch of windows like EA always does, sometimes it's best if they're just rectangles. But yeah, I don't really have many complaints. The one thing I don't like, and I know why they did it, it's because there's 3 tiles here and they want it to be symmetrical, but there's 3 front doors here, and maybe that's something they do on Lunar Lakes, but it's not something that I do. But yeah, that's besides the point. Let's jump inside. My first reaction was a gasp, but looking at it, I don't hate it. I like this red floor. Red used to be like my favorite color before it turned into teal and pink. This is the kind of red that I would buy a shirt in, if you know what I mean. And they pair it with this beautiful aquamarine turquoisey blue, which is really nice. And the blue is such a strong color. I guess so is the red, but the blue is stronger, so they use less of it. And I think that's to its advantage. I think if the red and the blue kind of switched places, it would be way too much. And I haven't mentioned it either, but most of the kitchens have kitchen sinks and not bathroom sinks, which is a nice change. This bathroom too, ooh, it's like a blood red bathroom inside too. It matches like the living room and everything, but the toilet and the sink are nice and dark. I don't know, I don't hate it. The dining room could use a plant though, as usual. Let's go upstairs. See, this is a much nicer way to use green. See how they use like gray as the primary color and then they just use splashes of alien green? How exquisite, how nice. I like the bedroom, it's kind of simple. This house is actually a little bit underfurnished. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, the colors are really good. This bathroom is really big and has almost nothing in it though. But like, it's not that the house is too big and empty. It's that they could have used a few extra things. Like they could have used nightstands. They could have used a lamp, right? Like just like little things. But overall, this is exactly like the concept. This very much suits the vibe. And I know it's called Organica, so I was expecting like organic stuff stuff inside, but it's Lunar Lakes too. And this looks a little bit more space agey, a little bit more, this is like ultra modern in a sense. Like I think this color palette is like way before its time. In 2010, it was too much, and it's still too much today, but I don't know if it's gonna be too much in 2030, if you know what I mean. Yeah, coming back outside, like even though it's like on the smaller, simpler side, I really liked the execution. I liked how even if you don't love the colors inside, there's only a couple of them, right? So like it's not like it's gonna be overbearing or a rainbow mess. I like the garden, I like the shape, I like the windowing. There's a few little problems, but you know what? This is better than the last few that we've seen. I'm gonna give this one an 8. I just noticed this like weird out of place table out here, but just delete that and you've got yourself a nice futuristic modern house for once. So we know EA is capable. They don't always do it, but they're capable. So let's see what we got left. And last but not least is Pandora's Pavillion. Well, it doesn't look like we're getting our 10, but let's take a closer look at this thing. It's mildly better than layer cake, I guess. I don't like the brown. I don't like a brown house in Lunar Lakes. I don't think it really goes with the vibe. I would have preferred metal or something. Now, it's called Pandora's Pavillion, and I don't know why, but this half-wall fence thing gives me the Pandora feeling, so I guess that's okay. Looking at the back, it's actually windowed all right. A few too many windows like EA always does. But again, I think the back is a little bit stronger than the front. Well, I don't think either is that strong to begin with, but you know what I mean. The strength of this house is actually this platform deck thing. I like how the deck kind of wraps all the way around here to this path and everything. Very, very nice. A little bit like, because you can't pull stuff like this off in a regular world. It would look too out of place. So I'm glad they're utilizing the fact that they're in Lunar Lakes for a few of these things. But the landscaping in general, I haven't talked too much about the landscaping because it is like a different planet or a moon or whatever. And I really like the trees that they include with this world. Like I love this purple tree, love these mushroom trees. I love these dandelion spiky purple things too, but they don't go well with this house. And I'm glad that they didn't put too many of them, quite frankly. Yeah, I don't know. And from the top, again, like this kind of looks like a tadpole or, you know, something else. So let's jump inside. Oh, it's very Sunset Valley. This is actually what I was afraid of for like most of the other houses. So now my fear is kind of becoming realized. We have this classic style kitchen with the carpeted wall with these weird lights that don't make sense. We have this dark, I have to turn this light on. Oh my God, these like wicker furniture. No, I was not expecting this at all. Why would they ruin it like this? I don't like the floor either. Oh God, this thing doesn't know if it's Sunset Valley or Lunar Lakes. Look at this bathroom. Oh no, these is exactly the colors I don't like in exactly the room I don't like to see them in. Oh God, let's go over here. I was really excited for this like little like second little room here, and all it has is a chess table again with wicker chairs. So I don't know how I feel about that. Our last hope is the upstairs. Let's just see. Oh no, it's worse than I thought. Okay, so the wall color is absolutely abhorrent. I do not like it at all. These beds, I like the sheet color at least, but I don't like the comforter color. Don't like the tiles on the floor. Is that wicker tiles on the floor with a wicker bookshelf and a wicker chair? That's what I see, and I don't like it. So chances are you've seen like other episodes and you guys know what I don't like. So just looking at this, like this just hits every nail on the head in the bad way. This takes away the whimsicality of the world. It adds in the Sunset Valley ugliness. It adds in that EA style that quite frankly, I wasn't really missing. And it's a tragic way to end off because this is probably like my favorite world in The Sims 3, but some of these builds are just not hitting the mark. And I think this is the worst of the bunch. I'm gonna give it a 2. It's a 2 because I don't like anything about it. I don't even like the shape. I don't like the concept. I don't like the round roof. And like they're trying the round roof, which I appreciate a little bit of effort, but it's not pulling through and these colors are not for me. And what is with wicker in Lunar Lakes? I don't get it. Well, that does it for our first episode of Lunar Lakes. What did you guys think? That was like 13 houses unlike any we've ever seen. And like I said in the introduction, like this is right up my alley. I love space. I love futuristic modern. This is definitely my concept. But overall, the execution of the builds has not been that great. Like I was really expecting more. I do like a lot of the shapes. I like a lot of the architectural things that they've done. But to be fair, like from the thumbnails, like there's a few houses that I've seen that I think are much better. We got some nice strong shapes over here in the downtown core. There's one I'm really looking forward to. It kind of looks like a beehive over here. I'm really looking forward to this one. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought. I know a lot of you, like this is not really your cup of tea. You prefer something a little bit more realistic and normal, if that makes sense. But I know there's a few sci-fi lovers out there like me. Yeah, so let me know which one was your favorite, or if there's a house that I didn't see yet that you're looking forward to. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. And don't forget to head over to to my community tab, because as soon as I post the episode for the new world, then we get to vote on the next world. There's only like 4 or 5 worlds left, so like every vote kind of counts now, because the polls are kind of getting closer and closer the less worlds we get. There's a few pretty ones left, I think, like Sunlit Tides, and then there's also a few blunders like Barnacle Bay, so it depends really what you're in the mood for. But yeah, thanks again, and thanks so much to my dedicated simmers for helping me make these videos. Love you all. Mwah. Boom.